All right, let's take a short breather and, of course, talk to Michael A. Porter on the program.
Sports with Africell on Afri Radio is the real thing.
Well, the Euro 2020 has finally gone, and, of course, England were beaten on post-match penalty shootout, 3-2 by Italy. The trophy is not going home, but it's going to Rome. And, of course, to help us more to talk about the Euro 2020 campaign after it was delayed for an year, we have Michael A. Porter on the line to talk to us about this Euro 2020. Hello, Mike. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning from the Gambia. How is the UK?
Yes, it's it's mid-July, cloudy day. Temperature around about 17 degrees today. It's a bit overcast, but it's a fine day here today.
Wow. What is the mood in England after, they lost to Italy on post-match penalty shootout?
Well, of course, the initial reaction was disappointment. The build-up to the final, the expectation of the English supporters, in particular with the final being in London, Wembley, and the fact, it's been so long since England have won a major tournament, and the hopes, the expectations were very, very high here. And, with a young team playing against a great Italian side, it was always going to be a challenge. So I think people are starting to get over it now, that the disappointment of not winning the final. But initially, the reaction was very, very disappointed, and that they didn't finish the job. I mean, it was they had all they had everything with them, home advantage, a crowd behind them. A rainy night even, which suited their style of play, but it wasn't to be, and that's it. So I think, it's sinking in now. England have lost, and now, we must move towards the World Cup.
Well, before going to the finals, England only conceded only one goal so far. Jordan Pickford broke a record in the semi-final for number of clean sheets or minutes without conceding goals. And, of course, England has to do it the hard way against Denmark and hopes, shattered in the final.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, congratulations to Jordan Pickford. He's still a young goalkeeper. He's been playing very well this season for his club team, Everton, who have Rafa Benitez now as a new manager there, so it'll be interesting to see how Jordan gets on with the new setup. He beat Gordon Banks, his old record, which has stood for a long, long time. Gordon Banks was the goalkeeper when England won the World Cup in 1966. So, it's a long time, and but he did very well, and defensively, England have really outshined previous England teams with only letting one goal in, which was a super goal from Damsgaard of Denmark, a wonderful free kick. But Jordan Pickford and the defence played extremely well throughout the competition, and I think everyone was proud of them. What a good job they did, and the final, unfortunately, he made another great save to the post, but unfortunately, I think it was Bonucci who was there on hand to tap it home. And a good performance by them in the final.
Indeed, and of course, England couldn't win the title, and of course, the long wait continues. Right now, there was a mixed feeling also with the issue of some players after missing that penalty. Bukayo Saka, for example, for Arsenal, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho of United, racially abused online. I mean, what do you make of those type of, unfriendly comments?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, and I want to, let people know in the Gambia that it's a small minority of people here who are doing these things. It's, you know, the vast majority of the people who are real football fans are not creating violence. I mean, those scenes after the game at Wembley, you know, thugs attacking, you know, innocent Italian supporters did no favour to any English people, you know. But I must point out, it's a small minority who are causing the trouble, and unfortunately, social media these days magnify the situation in such a situation where you know, the world thinks all England fans are like that, but it's not true. You know, 98% of England fans are true football supporters, and it's the same with the racism. You know, the online racism. You know, there is no place for that in our game. Racism of any type, and you know, these young players were trying their best. You know, they're only young men, 20, 23 and 20 and 19 years of age. You know, I mean, these are young men just starting out in their careers. They're highly talented football players, you know, and I suppose people were expecting them to score. Well, you know, on a stage like that, sometimes if you're a 19-year-old, although you're a great player, you know, sometimes the occasion and the concentration and the nervousness gets the better of you. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that the three players we've mentioned will learn from this. You know, they'll learn from this. It's all part of experience, and they'll learn from it, and they'll never forget it for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure, you know, given the World Cup coming up next year, you know, it's going to help their development in the game, and you know, and I'm sure they're going to move on from it now, put it behind them, and they've got such bright futures ahead of them. You know, they're highly talented players, and you know, we should think about the positives and not the negatives. You know, what is done now. It's all water under the bridge. We've got to draw a line under it and move forward, and let's hope, you know, England have a good run in the World Cup. So that's what we're focusing on here now. Regarding criticism and violence and racism, there's no place for it here in England. We don't want it. You know, nobody wants it here. And it sadly reflects on our society. And these people do not represent England. You know, they don't represent the vast majority of the people here. And we're all embarrassed about it, Lamin, to be honest with you. It's an embarrassment.
Absolutely.
But what can we do?
Absolutely.
Small minority.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. A big embarrassment and a shame indeed. But let's talk about, I mean, the success part of the story. When the head coach, Gareth Southgate, I mean, initially announced his provisional list of players for the Euros. I mean, the players he selected, I mean, 90% of the players are young players. In fact, one of the youngest players presented in an Euro competition. And a lot of people thought, you know, this England team will fail woefully. But to the surprise of many, they caught everybody with a big, you know, surprise, and of course went on to the final. Let's talk about the success story.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, let's remember that Gareth Southgate has been nurturing the vast majority of these players since they won the Under-17 World Cup. You know, and these players have been together for a long time now, you know. They've come through the ranks at international level as youth team players, under-17, under-18, under-21 in many cases. So he's been working with these players for quite a few years now. And when he selected the team, he had his critics, and people were saying, "Oh, you know, you've not got enough experience in your team. You've selected too many defenders. You've selected too many full-backs." You know, I remember all the criticism. But actually, you know, as the tournament went on, we could see, in particular, you know, if you're keeping clean sheets and you're winning 2-0, 1-0, you know, that is a big plus. As well as winning, if you're keeping a clean sheet, that tells its own story as well, that the defence is doing its job. And even before the Germany game, where, in all honesty, I was expecting England to fail, because normally, traditionally, historically, we always lose against Germany and have done for many years. And when he selected his side, I heard a lot of criticism from people saying, "Oh, he's so conservative. He he's picked the wrong team, but he proved everybody wrong, because England went on to beat Germany, and nobody was heart of hearts expecting that. And then all of a sudden he gets a lot of respect, and you know, so you know, a lot of thanks has got to go down to Gareth Southgate. Well, but then again, in the final, he was criticised heavily for his selection of penalty takers. Yeah. You know, a lot of people were saying, you know, you should have used more experienced players like Sterling and Grealish, you know, rather than the younger element. But that was his decision. You know, he'd made that decision, and he's stuck by it. And to be fair, you know, he's done a great job, and he's been the most successful England manager since Sir Alf Ramsey in 1966, when England won the World Cup. So fair play to Gareth Southgate. He's done an excellent job. And not only has he done a good job, he's an ambassador for English football, and he does what he believes is right as well. And he looks after the players, and he makes sure that they're disciplined. And, you know, and I know he was very upset about all the trouble, you know, after the game. I know he was very, very upset about all the racism and everything else. But he's done a great job, so I'm going to take my hat off to him, and let's see how he gets on in the World Cup.
Let's talk about, the defensive, capability as well. I mean, last night, UEFA have released the team of this season, and a clear testimony of that solid backbone of the English defence line. Harry Maguire is part of the UEFA team of the year, which is a great plus for England and United. That solidifies, you know, what you are saying about that great backline of England.
Certainly, you know, the defence was a major strength in this competition, because in the early games, Harry Kane wasn't really, you know, he wasn't really his free scoring self, and you know, the team was reliant on Sterling to get the goals in the early games. But what was the difference for England was the defence. It was stalwart, it was watertight, and the performance of the goalkeeper and the back four really pushed England through into the group stages, into the knockout phases. And, you know, it wasn't until they played Denmark in the quarter-final that they actually conceded a goal.
Well, it is the only goal scored in a Euro 2024, you know, free kick. I mean, it was the only goal scored from direct free kick.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful free kick. And what a talent that young man is. Damsgaard from Denmark, you know, what a talent he is. And and it was a wonderful free kick. I think any goalkeeper in the world, or any defenders, you know, having a wall and the goalkeeper lining his wall up, would have struggled to get that ball, because it was placed in the top left-hand corner, going at speed. The ball was swirling and curving and moving, and I think any goalkeeper in the world would have struggled to keep that one out. And that was the only goal that England conceded. And you know, and in past competitions, one of the biggest failures of the English team has been defence and leaking silly goals and making silly errors. But for this tournament, we didn't see any of that.
Absolutely. So a good crop of young players. He has done great job in the 2018 World Cup. And, of course, the 2020 Euros also fantastically. The team has improved. They went to the final. Now, up next is the 2020 World Cup in Qatar. Well, he said he's not going to rest on his laurels, meaning that they are a step closer to bring it home.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, we have this, you know, in England here, we have this high expectation that our team's going to win every competition they enter. And, you know, that is going to be, you know, the World Cup is something else, isn't it? I mean, to get to the final of the Euros is a great achievement for such a young side with an average age of 22, 23. I think, in fact, I think Harry Kane was the eldest at 28 years old, captain in that squad. So, you know, the World Cup is a different kettle of fish, what they say here. And, you know, all of a sudden you've got Argentina and Brazil, you know, and, you know, all the top teams, all the top South American teams coming in. You know, and it's going to be a big challenge. But clearly, England, based on their performance in Europe, should have some confidence in progressing in the World Cup. Whether they're good enough to win it or not remains to be seen. And certainly, Italy have proved to be the team of the tournament, you know, and even in the final, you know, they went 1-0 down after 2 minutes, you know, and the whole of England thought, here we go, there's going to be lots of goals here, but what happened? They fought back, they didn't give up, and I couldn't understand why England started to become defensive, and once he took Declan Rice off, everything seemed to fall apart a little bit for England, and once Italy got the equaliser, then you know it was a game. We had a big game on, and I thought I was expecting England to go on and win it in extra time with the fast legs that the England strikers have, in particular against an aged Italian defence, but that didn't happen. The Italians stood out and did very well. And when it got to penalties, I knew heart in hearts that we were second favourites because England and penalties have never really got on.
Well, 25 years ago, Gareth Southgate was among the people who lost that big penalty for England. So, you know, for Bukayo Saka and
I remember that. You know, Gareth Southgate, he's been there, he's done it, and he's got the T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, I always remember it was against Germany, and he was absolutely distraught, you know, when he missed that penalty. And but now, you know, he's done it himself, so he knows exactly how the three boys feel who missed the penalty. So, you know, and they'll be experiencing. Southgate has said he's never ever got over missing that penalty. It lives with him like a cloud, you know, over his career, you know. And sometimes in football they forget all the good things you did, because Southgate was a great centre half for Aston Villa, and you know he was a great player. But the one thing that fans remember is his missed penalty, and not all the good things he did in his career, you know. And this is the thing, you know, it does hang with you, all these things, and players, you know, players are always reminded of what happened, and but I'm sure Southgate will mentor and coach these young boys, and they've got good coaches at Manchester United and at Arsenal, so you know I'm sure it's not going to get them down too much, and the majority of the true English fans are very forgiving, and we're grateful for a great performance, but the thing is the expectations will be high for the World Cup now.
Many thanks to you, Michael A. Porter, for the time. I said I was not going to keep you long on the line. I know you are exhausted after a hectic work that you have done over the course of the Euro 2020. But final message to the Gambian public and, of course, the people down there in UK. We are saying hi to everyone.
Yeah, and hello to everyone in Gambia. I hope you enjoyed the Europeans, and also congratulations, because I believe you've qualified for AFCON coming up in January. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's wonderful news. And congratulations to the Gambia, to all the supporters and the team for qualifying. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you at the AFCONs when I go back to Ghana as part of the team there covering the AFCON competition coming up in January. So, and hello to all my friends in the Gambia. I hope to come back soon, as soon as I can.
Absolutely. Many thanks to you, Michael, for the time.
Yeah, all the best, Lamin. Bye-bye for now.
Many thanks to Michael A. Porter, currently in the UK, giving us that precious time to talk to us about the importance of the Euro, the highs and lows of the English fan. And I'm sure a lot of people are living